Hi Year 13s. In a previous video, we talked a little bit about this graph and what it showed. And in this one, we want to talk a little bit more specifically about the residual panel here. Now, briefly again, our residual values, where they come from, is these values are the difference between the raw data and the fitted model. So in this case here, that's the gap between our raw data there, the black line, and the fitted model, the green line. So there we've got a fairly big gap there, and the size of that gap, so raw data take away fitted model, that is the height, the value we've got there. Now, notice on the residual graph that we get these, we've got our zero line here, but we've also got a grey line there and a grey line there. Now, if you look closely, that grey line doesn't line up exactly with the 0.02, and there's a good reason for that. And in terms of where that line comes from, if we calculate the range of the raw data, so our highest point in the raw data is let's see, that's the fitted value. Yep, so 2.0075, that's the highest point in the raw data. And the lowest point in the raw data is, that's the fitted value. Where is it? We can hover around here and we can find it. There we go, 1.7766. So that's the lowest value in the raw data. And so if we subtract highest point, take away lowest point, we get a value 0.2309. That is the range of the raw data. And you've done this in the decomposition section in that table you made. Now, one thing that we can do is, or that's significant, is in terms of residuals, we want to know what 10% of that raw range is. So the range of the raw data is 0.2309. 10% of that range is 0.023. And that happens to be where this line has been placed. And we go the other side as well. That's negative 0.023. So these lines have been placed so that they show where 10% of the raw data ranges. And so when we see a value that spikes above that grey line there, that's a value where, so in this case, the gap between the raw data and the fitted model, that gap is bigger than 10% of the full range. And so when we have a gap that's bigger than 10%, when it's what we expect to happen and what actually happens is differing by more than 10% of the entire range, then what that's meaning is our model may not be the greatest fit. That gap is pretty large. And so at a basic level, if we have any values, any residual spikes that go above this grey line or below this grey line, then that's going to give us a reason to suspect that our model might not be the best fit. And any places where we're spiking above that line or below that line are going to be places that you're going to want to discuss.